says please keep off that one.
I had a wood guy. Oh, okay.
So the two propellers spin in opposite directions, canceling each other out, which makes the torpedo stay straight and steady. And this is a Mark 14. This is to go about 40-45 miles per hour under the water till it hit a target. And then this is a Mark 18 electric, which didn't go as fast or as far, but didn't leave a bubble wake either, so the target wouldn't have a warning a torpedo was coming and try to turn to avoid it.
Oh, you had to sleep here then?
Well, you didn't have to sleep here. This was the quietest, coolest room on the sub, so all the senior enlisted got to sleep here, and they stuck all the new guys back in the after torpedo room in the enlisted sleeping quarters where it was noisier and hotter and smelled more like a locker room.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this would be the senior enlisted berth, but not the chiefs. The chiefs had a room in officer country.
Okay.
But all these racks would be sitting up like you see here. Some of them are actually hoisted up out of the way for operations during the day. But when the racks would actually, there'd be a space about this big for walking through, and this would be solid racks.
Oh, okay. And then that's where they brought the torpedoes in?
Yes, that's 21-inch loading hatch.
Okay.
And so you bring it down here, and then there's attachment points on the ceiling for block and tackle. That's what over this gentleman here.
Okay.
And then these tracks here would this actually swings out into the room to form like a rail system. And the skids pull out here, so when you bring the torpedo down, it rests on the skid, and then you push it back to the bulkhead.
Neat.
So that's how they loaded them through right there.
That's correct.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
How long were they under the water for?
Not very long. 48 hours is your maximum underwater endurance. World War II submarines were actually surface vessels that could occasionally go under the water. You would either run out of battery charge after 48 hours, or you would reach toxic CO2 levels.
Oh, okay.
You wouldn't actually run out of oxygen, you'd be poisoned by the air. The captain and the weapons officer are continuously plotting information about enemy targets. You raise the periscope, you know where the target is, which way he's facing, lower the periscope.
Okay.
Wait 60 seconds, raise the periscope, see how far the target has moved, lower the periscope. If you know how far he's moved, you now know how fast he's going.
Yeah.
Once you know how fast he's going and in what direction, you know where he will be by the time the torpedo gets to him.
Oh, neat.
So you can enter that into the torpedo data computer, and the numbers coming off the torpedo data computer are transmitted via wire and repeated here. So the guys who are loading the torpedo know what settings to input into the torpedo.
Oh, okay.
That way the guys who are trying to muscle things with chain and hot and sweaty and working to do a lot of mechanical labor don't have to try to do advanced math. This is where the officers' stewards would be making food just for the officers. A lot of coffee, some snacks, but generally not meals.
Oh, I probably shouldn't have stuck in there.
Now, this is the shower that was never used. Or you would walk on the cans until they were eaten. Now, here's the good dining room. Go on in. This is where the beautiful people ate, the officers.
They served the food.
So this was where officers would relax. This is where they had meetings. They would talk to each other. This could actually be used as a bed, and there was a storage locker underneath. In dire cases, this could be used as a sick berth. Radio for entertainment purposes. That's a listening radio, so a music radio, not any kind of communications or anything like that. And then if you look over here, this is an example of a junior's officer's quarters. So rather than being racked over a torpedo, you get 3 actual bunks secured to a bulkhead. Your own is able to gauge his situational awareness very quickly. All right. Desk for the captain to do paperwork at, and the captain does an awful lot of paperwork. You have phone to the control room right here.
What's this thing?
It's a sink.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Everything folds up and stores on the sub. Spaces at a ridiculous premium, so a lot of times you have spaces that have triple or even quadruple uses.
Neat.
Mm-hmm. then this is where the chiefs are stored. These are the most senior enlisted men on the boat.
How many guys were in here?
97.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. There's bedding capacity for about 50. So there was some hot bunking going on. This is the ship's office. This is where you get pay and administrative tasks would be performed.
They had to be really little people.
Mm-hmm. Average height for a submarine, and they were all male, was 5'8".
Wow.
All right, go on through, guys. This is the control room. Typewriter. Yep.
You see the second periscope? That's the attack
Is there
scope.
anything else like above it?
Above that is water.
Grandpa. No, I can't farther back that way.
Yeah, well, that's where the
That board with the green and red lights is what's known as the Christmas tree,
That's where the sonar is.
due to its festive colors. And that tells you what is open on the sub and what is closed on the sub. Basically, if you ever watch an old sub movie or anything, the captain who's trying to dive before the enemy gets them will be repeatedly asking, is the board green? Is the board green? When everything is green, you close all the openings and the sub is watertight, you may now dive.
That big wheel?
If you have red and you dive anyway, you're not going to come back
Is
up.
that hatch?
You're going to flood and sink.
That goes to the outside con.
That's neat.
Right? And they would stand out there when the
So,
ship is
you, sir, are standing
And they
next
would
to the
jump
ship's
down
wheel.
there, come over here and jump down.
It's talking to you, Peyton.
Right?
So that's how you
And get
steer.
on these two
That's how they
wheels and
steer the
control
boat.
lanes.
Port or starboard, left or
That's where
right.
the captain would look.
Compass is immediately behind you, so the navigation officer can tell you what heading to set.
Now, on mine.
And this
okay,
gentleman
when
with
we
the
got
hat
built,
right there is standing next to
This
the chart table.
Moved to here.
Yeah.
This is the compass. All right? And they would have the
How
plot
could you
table
see where you
here.
were steering?
You
See,
didn't.
the
You
watch
were
was
given an
standing
order by the
there, operate
officer
these
who's using the
things.
compass and the map.
Back here was the trim tank.
And they might pass information from lookouts up above us. We're actually under the tower.
And
We're under
down
the
below
conning
this
tower.
hatch.
There's a watertight compartment above us.
I went down,
That's the
actually where the
con.
sonar
And
was.
above that is the bridge where
So
lookouts
that
would be when
wasn't
you're
there.
on the surface.
It was over on this
But the
side.
helmsman couldn't see
And
where he
they
was
did a little
going.
change.
He was told
planes
steer
here
310,
is
and he steered 310 by the
is the
compass, and that was it.
air
So the driver couldn't see where he was going.
Yeah.
And right here
These
is
two
the
giant
IC
wheels
board,
back
which is
here.
what I wound
Go
up
ahead and
working
sit on those benches, guys.
The communication.
Turn around and face the wheels.
That's my board.
One of you on each bench.
Which was the air manifold.
You go to the other wheel, Petey.
All right, grab those wheels.
No, come on, don't sit up there.
You're now manning a dive watch.
That's where the,
Miss, you're on the bow planes.
Sit.
Sir, you're on the stern planes.
Chris?
Those are basically the wings that control how the submarine is pointed when it's under the water.
So they just had to go by orders too?
Yeah.
Either that, no, this was the radio, I'm sorry. That goes into
The submarines were so ridiculously complex, and there was so little forgiveness if you made an error, that the way that they handled things is you tended to have a whole bunch of people who had one job. Your job was to do this one thing and nothing else. And then the officers were the people coordinating everything.
Oh, okay.
So you had an officer who was effectively driving the boat, but he didn't actually lay hands on it. So whoever had the con was the one who was maneuvering the ship.
I could put my head up there.
Yeah. Just see that plastic sign?
Yeah.
Hey, don't go past that.
Oh.
Excellent. She's a lovely lady.
Can I try this?
Just make sure I'm
Think of any more questions in the meantime? It is.
Damn. You're not listening.
This is how you know which direction you're going.
Yeah.
You also have lookouts up on the bridge. You passing information out.
Communication. One goes down, you're down.
There's a cargo ship 2 miles to our west. It's heading this speed in this direction. That's how you avoid collisions with light. Any questions? I guess not. Alright. Are you holding up, guys?
I think they jumped ahead. She's just. Hey, Murray, he's still with us.
Oh, okay.
What am I at? Radio room?
Yeah. This can be closed both to ground the radio equipment and so that certain communications would become general knowledge to the crew.
Gotcha.
So,
that guy just came to relieve you, so it's called hot.
So the refrigerator is in the floor?
It is. Underneath this, this whole compartment underneath this is the fridge, and this particular area over here is the freezer.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so there's actually two temperature doors. Okay, but behind that second door is the freezer. The rest of it is cold storage. The main problem was with the good seating capacity. You had heat ships. You couldn't fit everybody into the galley at once, not to mention the sub parts of the roof. So we needed 3 shifts of half an hour each.
Oh, okay.
Hello, I'm George Zacco, COD chief cook and baker. The photograph of the good-looking guy.
Now these tables here also doubled as surgery in the event of battle
You're in
casualties.
COD's after battery compartment, and just like the forward battery,
That's why the overhead lights are placed where they are.
Do they have like a doctor on board?
They had 1 to 2 pharmacists names, not a doctor, not a ship surgeon, but a pharmacist who would be trained to stabilize somebody. It would be like a little more than a like an EMT. They'd be trained to stabilize somebody until the boat could get them to a ship, another ship with their
Take a
own
look at
doctor,
today's
transfer
menu
them,
posted
or
on
take
the
them back.
bulletin board, and you'll see what I mean. Why, we even keep
This is an escape trunk, but nobody ever used this.
Sure the crew has fresh bread and rolls every day.
You said
When I
this
have
was
the
for
time,
surgery?
I like to
If
make
not-
it egg. The crew bag is where the crew bag is. Much more than-
Isn't this cool? It's like a gigantic bedroom.
Well, you can imagine the locker room stench of this place.
Yeah.
When you had, there's 36 bunks in here, I believe, and nobody took showers.
Look at their shirts.
Was that seawater, saltwater shower you showed me in the front? Was that the only one on the boat, or is there another
There's
one?
2. There's 2.
Okay.
There's one in officer's country, and there's one in this compartment here, as well as the ship's laundry. The ship's laundry consisting of a single washing machine and no dryer. Turn to your right. That's the port side of the ship. Boat. A submarine is never a ship. It is always a boat.
Oh, really?
Never a ship.
Don't look
The original submarines in the U.S. Navy were, the definition of a boat is if it's small enough to be carried by a ship, it's a boat. If it's large enough to carry its own boats, it's a ship.
Oh wow, they're drying their clothes out back here.
The forward diesel room. USS COD has 4 General Motors diesels, 24 cylinders. And then these are used to generate electricity. And then electricity is used to do everything else on the boat. So electricity powers the hydraulics, raises the periscope, powers the periscope, controls the planes, powers the engines. Electric engines turning the propellers. So
running on the surface.
now the biggest problem with diesel was airflow. You could suck all the oxygen out of the boat in about 15 seconds if you didn't have all the openings, like main induction open for the diesels to run. So one trick they actually used when they've been underwater for a long period of time, when the air got very stale, if they wanted to quickly vent the boat and make the air fresh again, is they only open the hatches and not main induction and run the diesels for about 30 seconds. And the air would go whoosh.
Motors and generators and down there.
This is probably where they had their battery storage and electrical.
This is the maneuvering room. This is also where most of the electrical junctions on the ship occur. Or excuse me, both.
I gotta wait till I got talking.
The maneuvering room is where you translate the commands from the control room into actual motion on the ship. Steering is controlled from here, as is throttle.
Here, please, over here.
So you would actually, the engines do not reverse. Do you use a different gear when you want to make the ship or boat go in reverse rather than forward?
Okay.
So that's why there's both a starboard ahead and a starboard reverser. And if you look down here, these are actually the motors, and the shaft is connected to there. If you see that big brown pipe right there, That is the shaft that the propeller is attached to. This is the starboard propeller. Port one's over there, underneath your feet.
I know how to move the ladder.
How's that?